Welcome to Veterans Corner. I'm Ruben Treviso of the American GI Forum. This evening, we'll be discussing President Obama's trip to Laos and its implications. Here we have the Coalition of Allied Vietnam Veterans, made up of Khmer, which is Cambodian, Laotian, and United States veterans. This Cambodian coalition and Laotian coalition is comprised of all those allies that served and worked with us during our 15-year period in Southeast Asia. And it's to them, these commandos and soldiers that protected us, served with us, died and were wounded. And because of them, many an American soldier was able to return home. We're talking about 2.5 million American soldiers were able to come home, greatly in part because of the contributions of our allied partners. I'd like to introduce them, starting from my right. Please give your name.
My name Conan.
Next,
My name is Peter Pratt.
Pierre Proc.
Yeah.
Bunrit.
My name Bunrat Ngan.
Mary Blatz.
David Un.
My name Pooh. Oh, my name Niet Pooh.
My name is Ron Mann.
Ma'am, thank you. Welcome aboard. This evening, I'd like to ask the question, what is the Coalition of Allied Vietnam Veterans? Peter?
Yeah. The coalition, I want to introduce myself first. My name is Peter Pratt. I am Cambodian American. I am a Khmer veteran.
Khmer is Cambodian.
Khmer is Cambodia, okay, for clear. I am Khmer Freedom Fighter against during Vietnam War in Southeast Asia, 1970 to 1975. Okay. Right now, I'm here with Mr. Ruben Treviso and Mary and Mr. Bonret. Yeah, I would like to express American to recognize about Resolution 210. Okay, we want to raise Resolution 210 for past this year. Because American recognize all Khmer veterans. They die a lot, in Cambodia, maybe 2 or 3 million in Cambodia. So right now, I want the government American to recognize them. Okay, this is my question. Okay, maybe.
House Resolution 210, which was introduced to Congress in April 17th last year.
Yeah, the Resolution 210 very important for us, for Khmer veteran, for Lao, for Hmong and Montagnard. Okay, they sacrifice a lot the life in Southeast Asia. So we want the 210 for pass.
The resolution itself is affirming and recognizing the Khmer, Laotian, Hmong, and Montagnard Freedom Fighters, the people of Cambodia and Laos, for their support and defense of the United States Armed Forces and freedom in Southeast Asia.
Yes, sir.
The resolution reads, whereas the Khmer, Laotian, Hmong, and Montagnard Freedom Fighters, also known as Southeast Asian veterans, fought and died with the United States Armed Forces during the conflict in Southeast Asia, and whereas the Khmer, Laotian, Hmong, and Montagnard Freedom Fighters rescued United States pilots shut down in enemy-controlled territory and returned the pilots to safety, and whereas the Khmer soldiers retrieved and prevented from falling into enemy hands secret and insensitive information, technology, and equipment, and whereas the Khmer, Laotian, Hmong, and Montagnard Freedom Fighters captured and destroyed enemy supplies and prevented enemy forces from using the supplies to kill members of the United States Armed Forces. And whereas the Khmer, Laotian, Hmong, and Montagnard freedom fighters gathered and provided to the United States Armed Forces intelligence about enemy troop positions, movements, and strength. And whereas the Khmer, Laotian, Hmong, and Montagnard freedom fighters provided food, shelter, and support to the United States Armed Forces. And whereas the Khmer and National Armed Forces of Cambodia facilitated the evacuation of the United States Embassy in Phnom Penh on April 12, 1975, by continuing to fight Khmer-ruled forces as the forces advanced upon the capital, and whereas veterans of the Khmer Mobile Guerrilla Forces, the Laotian Special Guerrilla Units, the Khmer Republican Armed Forces, the Hmong and Montagnard defended human rights, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of representation and association. Now, therefore, be it included in the congressional record that the House of Representatives affirms and recognizes the Khmer, Laotian, Hmong, and Montagnard freedom fighters and the people of Cambodia and Laos for their support and defense of the United States Armed Forces and freedom in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Peter,
Yes, sir.
where is this legislation at now? And what can people do to support you?
Let me ask Mary first. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Mary. You can.
Ms. Mary Blatz?
We had a meeting 2 weeks ago, and they explained to me that it's in the House. It's passed through the Senate already.
Yes, it has passed through the
And
Senate.
it passed through the Southeast Asian Subcommittee for the Foreign Relations. And now it has to pass through the Foreign Relations Committee, headed by Congressman Royce of California.
Ed Royce of California.
Right. And after that, it goes to
The General
Speaker,
the General
House
Assembly.
to pass.
I think my understanding is that Congressman Paul Ryan has agreed to pass the legislation.
Yes.
He just has to get out of the Foreign Relations Committee.
Yes, it has to get on the agenda of the Foreign Relations Committee,
Now, what is
which
being
is so
done?
busy right now.
What is being done to accomplish that task and that role?
Well, we just wrote a letter to Congressman Royce,
Uh-huh.
and we're hoping that this group can go to visit Congressman Royce in California and ask him to put it on the agenda of his committee and ask him if he could co-sponsor this piece of legislation.
I understand what you already have several congressmen already co-sponsoring it, such as Grotman and Brady of Pennsylvania, and Promoter on the committee that are co-sponsoring it already.
Yes.
But it needs the co-sponsorship of the chairman of that committee.
Yes.
Okay, now, the bill was introduced in April of last year, 2015. So if it gets through that committee, would it be able to be passed this year?
It could be, yes.
It could
it's
be.
very close because
Very close?
the Senate is already, and it's almost, at the end of its runaround in the House. So we need a few more sponsors, and if it's put on the agenda of the Foreign Relations Committee, it has enough congressmen to agree that it could be passed.
So this is a great opportunity. The numbers of the Cambodians that gave their lives in the defense of this of Americans was approximately 3.5 million. 3.5 million Cambodians gave their lives in defense of American troops during the seizure by the Khmer Rouge, the communists in that country. So it has to be done legislatively, and all they want is recognition. All they need is your recognition. All they need is for you to support them and saying that you thank them for their great contributions to our efforts in defending American lives in Vietnam and Cambodia and Laos, because American troops were there. And, you know, we're not supposed to say that we were there. And most of the troops will say, nope, we weren't there. It wasn't me. But we were there. We were there. That's why so many Cambodians speak such good English, because we were there. Right, Peter? Now, gentlemen, how do you feel about it? Are you doing anything right now to push the legislation through? Grab the mic. Are you doing anything to help out? Have you called anyone?
I would.
Okay, and Neil, have you called anyone yet? Have you talked to your friends about it? Yeah. Yeah. Soy?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and who have you called? Called anyone?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You were there in the meeting with the in Palm Springs with the president, right?
Yeah. I do.
And you called all the coalition of Khmer, Coalition, and Mong
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Try to introduce the president, let the president know. Also the demonstration that we did there, right?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so you'll continue. Also, you were in those meetings with Ed Royce, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Right, during the congressional hearings, you were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mary, what are your efforts?
Well, we've been working with Mr. Scott Walker, who's championing this legislation. And we met him 2 weekends ago. He came to California and he held a meeting in Long Beach.
How many people attended that meeting?
It was about 50 or more, yeah. It was a good number of people.
Yeah, from all over the
I felt
country,
like
too.
I was in Cambodia, because
I mean, people came from all over the country.
yes,
They came from Wisconsin,
Seattle,
Minnesota, Seattle,
Louis-
Louisiana.
yeah,
I was amazed.
Santa Rosa, one lace. Santa Rosa's far.
Oh, you called Santa Rosa, so they came down for the meeting.
Yeah,
New Orleans came
Yes.
also. So the influence of the Khmer Cambodians is national.
yeah, it was a very nice, and people were happy to be together.
Right.
And Scott Walker came to explain to them the resolution, and I think you said it very nicely, that it asked for recognition. That's the main point. It asks for the recognition of the service of these people to all of
Right.
us, you know. And I wanted to point out what Peter said, that he is a Cambodian American. So
Yes.
many of these people, what have we been doing, our organization, helping them to become citizens since like 1995. David was one of my first persons. He's in our church, and everyone in our church was put to the service of helping them to become citizens, you know. Yes, he became like 1995, and he told me I helped his wife
Well,
to
his
become a
wife helped him
citizen. Yes.
citizenship also.
So the major effort of us, so they're American now.
Right, right.
It's very exciting, you know.
And didn't you also teach him how to vote?
Yes,
in the
yes,
temples?
we are. That's Mr. Bunrat. He's working in all the temples to register the voters. And
In fact, I understand there are over 350 Cambodian Buddhist temples in the United States.
oh yeah, there's a lot. So we've been to the LA temple recently and talked to them about it, and to Orange County and some temples in Long Beach too. So we're going to go back in the next few weeks to get them registered. And we're going to have a contest that who can register 10 is going to get an award.
Okay. Bunrat, you know, pass the mic. Can you hear?
Okay.
He has this list. Peter, tell them about your list.
Okay.
Explain to me the list, Peter.
Mr. Ruben, right now I have a co-sponsor, Well, let me see.
Of all the congressional sponsors of the
Yeah,
bill?
50.
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, okay, can I pass to you what to see?
And how many sponsors do we need?
Not.
We just need one. Ed Royce, the chairman of the committee.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's all we need. Because
Yeah, we
if
need
he
Ed
says
Royce,
pass the
yeah.
bill, it gets passed.
We are very, we
complete
have to
the-
wait for the appointment, right? We
Yeah.
have to wait, okay?
Yeah.
I can tell you, you know that.
He's a busy
This I
guy,
work hard
that's
for
the
50,
issue.
I work hard. Right now, I did your 2 congress already in LA. Mr. Karen,
Karen
Bass.
Bass.
Karen Bass and
Another one.
Congressman Javier Becerra.
Yeah, I did already. Right now, I wait for the.
The-
You
the
have to
response.
go to meet them.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
If you go,
I
it will
talked to him,
help.
I
Right.
wait for the email, reply to me. I
The
have-
coalitions that are being formed here
Yeah.
are all veterans organizations
Yeah.
are joining in this effort. All veterans groups.
And next time I travel,
joining.
I travel to Congressman Mike Thompson in Santa Rosa. I have plan.
Oh,
Yeah, I have plan. Yeah, maybe.
To go to
Yeah.
Santa
Rosa?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe when we finish meet the Congress, right?
yeah,
I have
Uh-huh.
to go with my group.
that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I call already.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of Khmer
Yeah, a
in
lot
Santa
of Khmer.
Rosa.
Yeah. But long time to go.
I mean, this is a national effort
Mm-hmm.
because there are Cambodian Khmers throughout the entire United States.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in the area of Long Beach, there are over 100,000 Khmer.
Yeah.
And I understand in Lowell, Massachusetts, there's also about 100,000 in numbers. In Boston,
Philadelphia,
in Philadelphia,
growing population.
growing populations.
Yeah.
So,
This man is growing the population.
oh yes,
He has 6 grandchildren, triplets, 3 boys, and another 2 boys with his other son, and 1 girl, 1 little girl.
uh-huh.
So he's making the population.
Generational.
Yes.
Generational.
Yes.
We're not just building for the present, we're building for the future.
Right.
Because if we keep producing grandchildren as triplets, we will be the future. Correct?
Sorry, sir.
And Bunrit, so how are things going in terms of the temples and the registration for teaching them how to vote? What kind of acceptance are you getting there?
Yeah, last year and last 2 years and last year we promote them to join. We train them.
Right,
How
train
to
them how to
register,
vote
how to
the
vote.
voting machines.
Yeah, vote machine, and then with support by ICO. ICO,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
The
ICO.
interfaith community organizations
Yeah.
we're working with.
Yes.
Now we will continue to promote all the temple in Southern California to register who have citizen. They have to vote. Their
Uh-huh.
obligation, they have to vote. So we still promote.
Tell them about the monks. Are the monks going to vote?
Yeah, all the yeah.
You know, the monks are very much involved.
Yeah, the monk they are very influent with all Khmer because Khmer respect the monk. They go to pagoda. So when the monk try to promote, all Cambodian American
Right, because
come to register.
in 2010, in my work with the various monks on the U.S. Census, I realized that the monks knew everything there was to know about hiring, the jobs, and the responding to the census questionnaire. And it was to the monks that the information really got out. And once the monks said, move this way, that community moved.
Yeah. The
And
monk
they're
like
very,
the
very
center for lead all the people because they are old generation to next generation. The monk still leading.
And
Why they listen to the monk and the monk mostly they are center of Cambodian community. See, in Cambodia over here also still important the center of community.
And don't young men and women volunteer for a couple of months at a temple, working with the monks, you know, for short periods of time, just to increase their faith become closer to the monks. I've seen that take place. You know, coming in and out, but it's a learning experience, and the monks are still providing the role of teachers and educators within that community.
Yeah, really, the monks are very important to promote all Khmer American over here,
Right.
to join, to do something, to develop, to do business also.
So
Yeah.
this House Resolution 2010, it's not a bill, it's not legislation, it's merely a resolution to give honor and respect and to recognize the individuals that defended, protected, and served as allies for our involvement in Southeast Asia. So it's a very simple, easy task just to give recognition. We did it with the Filipino community.
Bunrit is very in favor of Khmer American friendship. So this is promoting that.
Correct.
Yes.
In fact, I've run across individuals whose families have served in the American Armed Forces.
Yes.
And it seems like they're following the route and the vocation of service to the country, to the United States.
Some of these freedom fighters, they did, when they came here, join the U.S. forces.
Mm-hmm.
They came as right away as refugees. And several of them that were at our meeting 2 weeks
At
ago.
the big meeting that we had.
Yeah, they actually joined the U.S. Special Forces or the U.S. military in
Correct.
some way. And they continued to serve.
In fact, we've had a recent request from the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors that they want Cambodian Khmer veterans to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. And also we've had a request that a monk lead the opening prayer at the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors meeting. So we look forward to that happening.
So we're trying to get the 94-year-old monk from L.A. Yeah.
Yes.
So he can go because he's still very, very strong and active, and he goes all over.
We travel all over the country.
Yeah, they're trying to build a temple. It's on Beverly.
It's on
And
Beverly Boulevard.
Yeah, it will be
Los
a
Angeles.
beautiful structure
Uh-huh.
when it's complete. And
But, you know,
The-
it's the role of these monks as leaders in their community and the faith that that community has with its monks and continuing the process of the monks are helping them become American. They're helping
Yeah.
them, people understand the culture, understand the language, and understand the process, especially the process of voting and recognition and citizenship. Mary, you've been quite involved with the citizenship programs, haven't you?
yeah, since like 1994.
Okay.
And we
And-
did it constantly. And I pressed all the members of my church. We had a Catholic church in Long Beach. So many of those Khmer were teachers in my church, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So all of them, I pressed them to teach citizenship.
Yes.
At one point, we were teaching citizenship in the church hall, in the church itself, behind, under the tree, in my house, in the garage, every place, because there was this kind of a panic because the laws were changing.
Yes.
And they began to realize they need to do that. And I separate them like, okay, if you can hold a pencil, you go in that group.
Uh-huh.
If the pencil is new, go in that group. If you can read and write in Khmer, go in that group.
Have
If
any
can
have
read,
any
write
of you
English,
attended
that
the
group.
citizenship classes? Becoming a citizen? You did? How'd you like it? You attended Mary's classes?
No.
No, a different one?
Yeah.
On your own. That's initiative. That's determination. That's focus.
You
That's
know,
great, because that's what
Ruben.
this community has.
one of the funniest things is I took 10 people to the eye doctor because I realized that that was the thing they needed to do, you know?
Uh-huh.
Get eyeglasses first.
Right.
And then I took myself after the 10, and I said, I can't read the Thomas Guide. And the doctor said, your eyes are worse than any Khmer you brought here.
It wasn't so much that they were illiterate or didn't know how to read. What they did is they couldn't read because they needed eyeglasses.
Yeah, there were all kind of reasons. And
And
now
it was a physical.
Because old people, they still like me, I'm over 68 now.
How old are you? How old are you?
Classic 68.
Oh, you're still young. You're still young.
I'm old. I say I use the glasses.
I use glasses too.
No, you don't wear the glasses.
But I don't wear them all the time.
See, I be down the glasses, I can read. Oh, okay.
But also the diet and food structure of Cambodians lead to longevity because it is a vegetarian diet. No? You don't think they're going to live longer?
Cambodians love meat, Ruben.
They do.
Oh, yes.
Boy, how come they can't feed me vegetables?
They eat a lot of vegetables.
Yeah.
They eat a lot of leaves, you know, very healthy things. All around the house, they have the leaves growing.
Right.
Like,
I mean, you go to a home and even when you had the church going on, you had gardens in the backyard and they were growing everything.
but they eat meat with it.
How come all I got was vegetables and leaves? Maybe it was a hint. Maybe it was a hint. Did you go to citizenship class? Did you go to the citizenship class? Sorry, did you go to citizenship class?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. How about,
Yeah. What?
and you had citizenship class too, Peter, right?
Yeah, right.
And so did your friend?
Yes. Yes.
So we're on the way to becoming
Yeah.
citizenship, voting, and active. And matter of fact, we're on our way to possibly becoming vice president or president of this country. In fact, recently, I was talking to some Khmer leaders, and I recall that I had recruited a few of them for the Coral Foundation Fellowship, and they gained entrance and were trained. And I'd like to mention that Tim Kaine, Hillary's choice for vice president, was also a graduate of the Coral Foundation Fellowship. And it's as we bring people in, train them and teach them, they're on the road to the path to Congress, to the Senate, to the White House. And that is my hope for that community. Because you train them, you teach them, you show them the path, and boom, they're on their own. Like take the initiative to become a citizen. On your own, you do it. And that's what's needed, and that's what's continuing to happen. And so, so I'd like to say, I'd like to welcome the new generations and the old generations of the Hmong, Montagnards, Cambodians, and Laotians. And I happened to, I'll finish the phrase, the old Montagnard saying, which says, long life for all and great spiritual awakening. Thank you. I'm Ruben Treviso of the American GI Forum.